I was floored by the score when I first heard it. I think it carries a lot of nuances of old musical theater, but it's heavily a rock pop score, which drives the story more than the lyrics alone. The lyrics and the dialogue, which there's very little, is gorgeous on its own, but it just seems that this music drives it even more so, or drives that point forward.
It's a fun musical. It's a very deep musical, and the music definitely reflects that in the emotions.
The thing is, I'm working with a cast that is just absolutely amazing and supportive and easy to work with. We all get along, we are all friendly with each other, but it's just refreshing to see that, because that doesn't always happen. The way it's affected me is like, I've just enjoyed every moment of it. I'm living in the moment and having such a positive experience, and it's brought joy to my life. I mean, I look forward every day to coming to this rehearsal.
A rehearsal process for the show is kind of an emotional roller coaster for myself playing the role as well. There are incredible moments of highs during the show, and then drastic lows as well, and just dealing with that outside of rehearsals as well. It's been very supportive from the director to the artistic staff to everyone that's here to support us through the entire process while we're putting kind of our hearts and souls and emotions out on the line for the entire show.
Working on Next to Normal, specifically with this production, has been really, really great. It's been very warm and open, and we've been able to be really vulnerable with each other as a cast. I was able to kind of get out of my own way, and I think we've really been able to go there because this show is really heavy, and I think because we're so close as a cast, we're able to have a lot of fun, but at the same time really play with some of the darker aspects of this show.
I felt it was very important to have these roundtable discussions with the industry professionals, as well as those dealing with a mental illness, because we wanted to portray these characters with honesty and authenticity, and what better way to do that than speak to somebody who's actually dealing with that illness.
When Aaron and Dawn came in, it was a very eye-opening experience, especially just because a lot of the things that they were saying were things that you could directly correlate to the show itself. So I think from that I learned a lot about just how people with a mental illness kind of have to go about in their daily lives, and I think it really helped us because there's a stigma that if you have a mental illness, people think, oh, you're crazy or you can't do certain things, where they really perfectly exemplified that so many people struggle with this and you would never be able to tell.
I think they really encouraged us to present these people as people first, that their disease doesn't define them, and that was really exciting. And I think that's helped the cast a lot, and it's helped me as well. It's brought us closer together. The two of them helped us become a little more vulnerable with each other as well, because they were so fearless and they were able to just share some of the deepest, darkest things about their lives very freely, and that helps other people so much. And I think them doing that has inspired us to be more vulnerable with each other.
They just really drove home that fact that this show is important, and the message that it's teaching and the message that it's sharing is important. And it's something that isn't talked about, it's whispered about. And by us being willing to perform this show, we're shouting about it. And I think that was the most powerful thing for me, is that we really are sharing and doing something important.
I think one of the biggest takeaways from the show, just the fact that it puts mental illness front and center in a truly emotional viewpoint, will ideally reduce some of the stigmas of people and their families that are living with mental illness. And I think showing that there are kind of these peaks and valleys throughout their entire daily life or family life, but knowing that it's okay to talk about or okay to get help, and that there doesn't have to be this stigma around mental illness.
The biggest takeaway of this show from an audience member, I hope at least, is that they can find identification with these characters, even if they don't have mental illness. But the beauty of this show is that it challenges that conception of stability and normality and says that there's great power in being vulnerable, and being open about what's broken about you ends up being the thing that heals you.
A lot of times we don't talk about what we're going through because it's shameful, it's embarrassing, and this show allows the conversation to start.